Let's dive into the Solana project today. There's going to be a lot to talk about. You don't want to miss it. Welcome into the show. Let's get started. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that is Tangem. This is where you guys can get into self-custody. It's very easy to do. You just jump over to Tangem's website. You can order your 3-card set. This is a physical card, so it is a self-custody device that works with your phone. You guys, of course, can get it over there and use our code. It's going to help us out, helps you guys out because it gets you a little bit of a discount. Get the 3-card set. A great way to get started in self-custody, and I always recommend that if you're brand new to crypto or you're an OG, doesn't matter. I want to lead off with this right here, and that is the Tesla xStock. This, of course, is the activity we're seeing on xStock, on Solana and Tesla. So my question is, when you look at the performance of this xStock in comparison to what we've seen with Solana, is Solana maybe the new Tesla in terms of performance and opportunity here with so many things happening within this ecosystem? All right, so one more thing I want to jump over to. This is called whysolana.com. This just kind of shows you a comparison of what this might look like down the road. And if you look at Tesla at, what is it, 1.4 trillion right now in terms of market cap, the potential here, if you kind of compare it to what xStocks is doing, but Solana price, this is looking at the ETH market at a $500 billion, around 900 bucks, 1.5 trillion. We'd look at 2,000 at a $4.5 trillion market cap. You'd see Solana setting at a 6,000. This is running out with a couple of top-down assumptions too. 2 trillion, 10% of 2033, 10% of tokenized assets on Solana. This may actually be a little bit of a conservative number if you look out that far, but the opportunity here of tokenized assets is going to get big. This is Novogratz talking about why he is actually tokenizing Galaxy Digital on Solana. Take a look.
You know, you made the choice to tokenize on Solana.
I love Jump Capital as a partner. They've chosen to build on the Solana blockchain. It's the most used blockchain, so the facts are starting to build into the narrative. Because if enough people buy into the narrative, then it becomes high-powered money itself.
Right.
We've added community as part of the investment process. Tesla's a crypto.
Yeah.
The perfect example of that is XRP. You want to learn about it, say something bad about them. We can look at how much use cases on the blockchain. It's not nearly as much as on Solana. And that's with the parent company selling tokens. Think about that. I used to dismiss that. No one gets tattoos about their stock.
Right? Tesla, probably. A lot of them, I think.
Tesla, because it's become a crypto. It's a community. It's a cult.
It's a cult. Yeah. And I think
all of crypto that are successful are cults.
I love that statement by Novogratz. All of crypto that are successful are cults. And I also think that translates into a very key handful of stocks, and Tesla, of course, being one of them. Speaking of Solana and how this all plays into this, I want to bring in our guest today. That is Nick Ducoff, who is the head of institutional growth at the Solana Foundation. Great to have you, Nick.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so let's just dive in quickly. We're looking at a couple of points right now. The SEC made a big surprise announcement. They're saying, hey, don't worry about it. We've got this new plan here, guys. You don't have to run these filings anymore. We've got this whole new listing process that you guys are going to fall into. Is that going to be the case with Solana in terms of an ETF launching this month, especially with these new generic filings? What is your thought?
Well, so it's September 29th. So if this month is September, I think no. If we're talking about October, I think probably
October, yes. Yeah, I'm already into October because I'm like, we're ready. We're ready for October. Even Kramer is out there giving buy signals for crypto. So I'm always concerned about that. But ETF October 10th, looking good is what you're telling me. If you look at the statements right here, we've got right there, Solana coming in with Grayscale Van Eck, 21 shares, Canary, all those 1010. So that is a big one. That's the date to watch right now around this. And if you look at, in general, the prediction, and I want to get your prediction on this, of how these will perform. And I'm going to specifically target Solana and XRP. Both these seem to be going to be coming to market about the same time. Which one will perform best in the first 30 days? What's your prediction?
Well, so I think the main thrust is that it's a bull market right now. We're in a risk-on market. Stock market keeps notching new highs every single day. You've got the Fed lowering interest rates. And so that's a good setup for risk assets. And historically, crypto like Solana has been correlated as a risk asset. And so risk assets are on right now. And so I think it's a good setup.
So, okay, well, in terms of performance, so you're obviously Solana Foundation. I'm assuming you're voting for the home team.
My crystal ball is broken today, Paul. But what I would say is that I think Solana is a great blockchain, and it's a great asset. And I think that if you've been a user of either, or a holder of either, or a participant in either, you're probably pretty happy.
I think this is going to be a good month. Hopefully, this being October is going to be a good month as we drop this on late September. I want to jump over to Dune Analytics because this shows some interesting points right here around meme coins on Solana. Obviously, we saw this massive jump up going into the election last year. And of course, that part of that was with Trump's meme coins. Now we've started to see a little bit of tail on the market, but in reality, this is a big opportunity. Are meme coins Solana's most undervalued part of the network? What's your thoughts there?
The interesting thing is that the network is higher on virtually every dimension than it was in January in that spike that you saw, except for meme coins. So the network is higher in terms of stable coins, network's higher in terms of trading transactions, network's higher on virtually every dimension. And I think that's one of the things that makes Solana really unique, is that it's a general purpose blockchain that can be used for all sorts of reasons and is used by over 80 million people a month all over the world. And so you had Pump, though, which is one of the meme coin launch pads, have a tremendously successful on-chain fundraising where they raised over $500 million in 12 minutes. And I think that's really what is possible with internet capital markets on Solana, is that you can have assets and access to capital all over the world 24/7 with unified liquidity. And that's the really special thing about the Solana network.
When you look at the opportunity here in traditional markets versus kind of this next evolution of markets, one point that was made here by Kraken, which I think is a good one. Imagine telling your 2017 self you'd be swing trading NVIDIA X on Kraken. And I think that's the question here is, do you think that xStocks and just in general tokenized stocks are going to be an aha moment for traditional markets when they see the amount of transaction and opportunity here?
Well, what xStocks did is it democratized access to U.S. equities to everyone in the world. If you're a U.S. person, it's not that hard to buy U.S. stocks. You create a brokerage account, and there's many great ones, Schwab, Fidelity, Robinhood, whatever. And in 5 minutes, you're online and you're buying stocks. If you're in India, if you're in Argentina, not only is your currency perhaps quite inflationary, but you also may not have easy, ready access to U.S. public markets. And to the extent that you do, the fees are typically quite high to trade on brokerages for ADRs. So what xStocks really did is it allowed people to buy U.S. equities, which U.S. has been kind of the engine of growth for the entire world for the last 100 years. It's been a great place to invest, continue to be a great place to invest. And now you can do that on the Solana blockchain, no matter who you are, anywhere in the world, 24/7 with instant settlement.
What do you think wins, Nick? Volume or holders? And I'm looking here at tokenized stocks. This, of course, showing Ondo's growth. That's in reference to total value. But if you look at active addresses, right there on Solana, that is based on actually the people that are in the market. What do you think wins in terms of how this plays out for tokenized stocks?
Well, I think that's a great chart that you just showed, because it tells the whole story of Ethereum and Solana in a single data point, which is Solana is a general purpose blockchain. It's the fastest, it's the cheapest blockchain. It's incredibly resilient, reliable, and as a result, you've got 80 million people a month using the Solana network. It's the most used blockchain in the world, and in fact, there are more transactions on Solana than there are on all other public blockchains combined. And what you have with Ethereum, and by the way, I have a lot of respect for Ethereum. None of us would be here if not for Ethereum. And however, that it's 7 TPS, and it's just not a blockchain that's really built for scalability. You have to make a trade-off between scalability and liquidity. And the incredible thing about Solana is you don't have to make that trade-off. The 2x2 matrix I always talk about is scalability on one axis and liquidity on the other. And generally speaking, you have to trade one off. With Ethereum mainnet, you have liquidity, but you don't have scalability. With some of these new high performance chains like the Move chains, Aptos, Sui, you've got high performance, but you have scalability, but you don't have liquidity. With Solana, you have both
Right.
scalability and liquidity in a unified venue, and I think that's truly remarkable and really differentiating.
I'm looking at just a statement here by Superstate. This is in reference to SharpLink Gaming. SBET, you guys will recognize there. Let me kind of zoom in. One of the largest corporate holders of ETH. Now its intent to tokenize its public shares directly on Ethereum with Superstate, but at the same time, you know, the opportunity here is with Solana as well. So will SBET end up having more trade volume on Solana or Ethereum? I'm kind of curious. What do you think will take place here?
So SBET is an Ethereum DAT, digital asset treasury company. There are many Solana DATs, including Forward Industries, which raised $1.65 billion in cash a couple weeks ago, and that's a project led by Galaxy Jump and Multicoin Capital. And Forward Industries has been tokenized by Superstate on Solana, and Superstate has tokenized a lot of equities on Solana and going deeper and deeper. They announced Sol Strategies, I think Upexi DeFi Dev.
Right.
And others. So you're going to see more and more equities being tokenized on Solana from the likes of Superstate, from the likes of Republic, from the likes of Ondo, from the likes of xStock. We've now have dozens of on-chain RWA issuers bringing assets from all over the world onto Solana in a single liquidity venue.
All right, so your prediction is Solana wins that? Just based
my
on
prediction is Solana wins everything.
Okay. Well, then we don't have to do any more predictions. Solana wins on that.
There you go.
I want to go into pre-stocks listing here because this kind of gives some indication on the future of IPOs. Maybe if you think about this, Anduril, you guys know that, OpenAI and their SpaceX, et cetera. Is this possibly the future of IPOs down the road? What do you think?
I'm so excited about private equities on chain. Private equities, private credit, private real estate. Private markets historically have been very expensive, very opaque, and very difficult to access. And now with the likes of pre-stocks and Republic Mirror tokens and Apollo private credit and many others, you now are democratizing access to these really unique and valuable and historically hard to access assets to the broader general public. And the thing that I think also goes unspoken, which shouldn't, is that it also brings access to liquidity for those issuers and their early investors. Because one of the things we've seen is there's a line at the gate to go public. It's now 30,000 private companies deep, right? And they just all will not be able to IPO on the traditional exchanges. However, with thousands of tokens being launched a day on Solana, the door's always open for folks to access liquidity on Solana 24/7.
Well, one unique thing is if you look at the companies that are in here, you've got XAI, you've got SpaceX, you also have OpenAI, I guess, kind of. You know, there's an eerie connection to what's happened in Tesla, which has already been the top performing xStock out there. So it creates these community elements. I'm wondering if that is going to be the jettison to help this kind of grow, these communities that we already know exist, whether it's a Solana community, the Tesla community, XRP community, you name it. The opportunity is going to be pretty significant here. How important is that with the future of tokenized stocks, these communities that act on these?
Well, what I've said for a long time is any community with a subreddit probably could have a very good token.
Right.
You know, because if you have an active community, if you've got folks that are participating and contributing and aligning around, you know, something, that's the makings for something that will do well as a token on the blockchain with that community behind it. And of course, you know, not everything is in equity. We've got the Clarity Act in Congress today. Hopefully we'll see that get passed sometime later this year, perhaps, which will more clearly delineate what is a commodity, what is a equity, and what disclosures are necessary for each. And I think that will really pave the road for many more of these tokenized fundraisings in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys, as they say. Speaking of tip of the iceberg, I want to talk about payments. Now, this is an area that we believe, our research team, myself, we've been watching this for quite a while. Who's going to be the winner here in terms of payments? Solana Pay was one. that I had a lot of faith in. I felt like this is going to be the middleware challenger in terms of disappearing what is required for a traditional payment to happen. That has not necessarily happened right now, because now obviously Solana Pay connected with Visa, supporting the traditional networks for payment as opposed to the new networks that might be out there. Do you think that is just an interim step, or is this something that, no, this is the way it's going to be?
Well, so the payments ecosystem on Solana is much bigger than Solana Pay. I really think Solana Pay was really just an app that was built to show the ecosystem what was possible, and it led to a Cambrian explosion of innovation.
Okay.
You've got Stripe, you've got PayPal, you've got Visa, you've got MasterCard, you've got WorldPay and others who are all building payment solutions on the Solana network. You had Fiserv that recently announced that they're issuing a stable coin on Solana for their 3,000 partner banks. So I think we're still really early in the arc of payments on chain. And one of the other things that needs to happen is the point of sale at the merchants need to start accepting stable coins and crypto as payment. And I think you'll see the likes of Toast and other leading POS systems do that over the next year, because how could they not? After the passing of Genius, it's just like, they're waving the green flag saying go, 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 go. And everyone in anything that touches finance, fintech, payments, equities is now, having to have a strategy to be on chain.
So it's kind of like, in a way, very similar to the mobile project that you guys launched. Obviously, you look at where the seeker is, and it's showing the other the other industry players out there. This is the way that you can go and attack a market. When you look at fintechs, you think about Robinhood, you look at Kraken, Coinbase, all those choosing an L2 route versus Solana. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's economics, right? With L2s, you can capture the sequencer fees, but we do have a solution for this. We've actually been working on something, and we have a few design partners that we've been working very closely with to allow folks to build on the Solana network without fragmenting liquidity. And this is the main thing, right? From the very beginning, Solana's vision was on-chain NASDAQ, all assets on Earth, trading in a single liquidity venue. Whereas in the Ethereum roadmap, they've to get to scalability, they've had to make a very tough choice of fragmenting liquidity. And now you're seeing that even further. And so we do have a solution that, stay tuned for more info on that soon, where folks like a Robinhood can build on the Solana network, access the liquidity at the L1 and capture more of the fee revenue.
Well, that's news. That's news. That would be fantastic, I think, and well needed, I think, in the industry, because right now you're dealing with, I think some of these organizations are kind of limping along trying to get these things done. And I think it also shows that in many cases they go, oh, this is harder than we thought. So it slows down that whole process of getting into the next phase of the market. Speaking of that, I want to go into UI wars. And this is in reference to Phantom versus MetaMask. And I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. MetaMask launching a new perp DEX. This is an in-app rewards program coming as well. You look at what's going on right now with MetaMask, which I would say, everybody that's been in crypto for very long, they've been using this for a long. It's the OG, wallet, self-custody wallet out there. And it always had problems. It wasn't a great, sexy UI. It had issues. Then Phantom comes in. They were the new kid, and they absolutely destroyed it. Just fantastic product, amazing wallet. But now it might be a scenario where we got some new features coming this way. How do you think that plays out for the Solana ecosystem versus what's going on with MetaMask?
Well, it's really exciting. MetaMask announced recently that they now support the Solana network. Phantom, of course, as you mentioned, is OG. You got to go all the way back to the Solid, if you're going further back than Phantom and Soulflare. But I think there's so many great wallets out there. I think MetaMask has recently hinted at a token, or maybe even more than hinted at it. They may have even publicly said that one is coming. Yeah. And as you know, with any decentralized application, whenever you start to say that a token is coming, you'll definitely generate more utilization for folks that are airdrop farming. Phantom, as far as I know, they haven't said anything about a token, and I can't speak to their current plans. They're of course an independent private company, but they're doing fantastically well. Phantom is an incredible wallet. And there's other great wallets in the Solana ecosystem as well, like as I mentioned, Soulflare and the Fuse wallet from the Squads team as well.
I'm looking on a couple of screenshots here that we pulled. Let me pull them up right there. You'll see this is on Coinbase. That's a network fee on USDC. Then you've got this image right here kind of showing just some of the fees that are coming across that. You'll see it on SWI, obviously on Solana as well. So my question is, do you think we're seeing Coinbase stifling Solana and SWI with these fees where, it's kind of like benefiting Ethereum versus what we're seeing with Solana? I'm just kind of curious, what do you think is going on there?
So the base fee on Solana is about 1/1000th of a cent. So that's generally what it should cost to make a send transaction on the Solana blockchain. I didn't see Solana on the screen you just showed, so I can't speak to the current pricing. Is it on there?
It's
but
this
in any
image right
event,
here. This is the Solana network right here.
Okay. So I trust you. The base fee is 1/1000th of a cent, and so that is what you would typically expect for a send transaction on the Solana blockchain. Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, has tweeted that they're working on making Solana a first-class citizen at Coinbase, and I think you have seen more of that. They recently announced a new bridge from Base to Solana. Listen, I'm thrilled for all builders in the Solana ecosystem. Coinbase is among them, but ultimately it's to the user to decide which they choose to use. And generally speaking, users are going to go to wherever things are fastest and cheapest. And if that's on Coinbase, great. And if that's on Phantom, great.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Firedancer. Do you think that's going to launch on time this year?
Firedancer is really, really exciting. So Firedancer, for those of you that don't know, is an independent validator client being built by Jump Crypto. It will increase theoretical throughput on the Solana network from 65,000 to 1 million, as well as just lead to more resiliency in the network, making Solana only the second smart contract blockchain to have multiple independent validator clients. And I'm not sure what the latest announced timeline is for Firedancer, but I know it's coming soon, and I know the teams at Jump and Anza and other ecosystem contributors to the project are working really hard to get it live and make sure that there's a seamless rollout. It already does have some amount of stake weight on the public mainnet today, so there is already some validators running the Firedancer validator client on Solana mainnet today, and I expect we'll see a smooth and complete integration of Firedancer, in the coming months.
If you guys don't already know, we've got Breakpoint coming up end of the year, so that's a perfect time to be announcing those kind of things. So be on the lookout for that. I'm sure that could be the alignment here. Now I'm looking at another thing. I'm looking at just Solana Hyperliquid. Are you worried about chains like Hyperliquid at all in terms of the trading volume, the market attention, momentum that it's starting to get?
Yeah, so there's a saying, only the paranoid survive, right? And I think one of the things that is very true about the Solana ecosystem, we've been through the ringer, and we've come back and every time higher and higher and higher. But that's not from complacency, right? That's from action. And so when we see competition, and believe me, there's competition coming from all angles all the time, as you would expect, because Solana is the most used blockchain in the world and it's leading on virtually every key dimension. And on perps trading, we see Hyperliquid as someone who's done really well, and someone we obviously want to beat in that dimension. And so one of the things that is coming in that regard is Alpenglow, which is an update to the Solana consensus mechanism that will split voting and non-voting transactions, both reducing the cost to participate in the network as a validator and also dramatically decreasing settlement finality from about 400 milliseconds to 150 milliseconds, really increasing the speed of the network. Already Solana is among, if not the fastest blockchain out there. It's getting even faster. And so I think you'll see more of that trading volume move from chains like Hyperliquid to Solana, both leading up to and after Alpenglow.
Yeah, well, and you've got Pacifica, obviously here, Solana's perpetual DEX market right now. that might be an entrant that you guys could keep an eye on in general. And thank you so much for stopping in. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. You guys make sure and get into our own private group, which is the Diamond Circle. You can do that by clicking the link down below. It's very easy and it's free. So that's one of the reasons you should do it. And then, of course, follow me out there on X @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on The Paul Barron Show.